Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Keyforge and new formats for Keyforge, right? And will there be new formats for Keyforge? Should there be new formats for Keyforge? And what will Fantasy Flight Games do about new formats? Okay, all right. So let's talk about it. I think it's a really fascinating topic. So Magic the Gathering came out, and there was Standard. Okay. Right now, there are a lot of formats in Magic the Gathering. There is Vintage, there is Modern, there is Standard, and that's pretty much. And there's Commander, right? That's 4 distinct, viable, real formats for the game. Oh, and I'm sorry, there's also Brawl, right? Which I think is kind of a failed format. I don't see a lot of people playing it, right? But those are the formats that are just getting some play, right? So the question is, every one of us who play Keyforge have already heard people saying, oh, well, I could just mix cards from different decks, put opaque sleeves on, and play, constructed Keyforge. So let's talk about that one right out of the gate. Is constructed Keyforge going to be a new format? Well, so, let's talk. So when I say, is it going to be a format, I'm saying, there's probably already people who have tried this, right? And there might even be a few people in a few different shops, right? What I'm talking is at the macro level. In every state in the union, in every state in America, there are people playing the main formats of Magic the Gathering, right? That's at macro level. That's at scale. So when I say a new format, I mean at scale. Not just a few people trying it, not a few shops trying it, right? I mean like every state in the union, in the United States of America, those formats are being played once a week, once a month, at least, and that is the case with Magic. Magic is an incredible game. It really changed the entire tabletop role-playing, the entire tabletop collectible card game market, the entire tabletop gaming industry. Magic changed the entire tabletop gaming industry. It accomplished Friday Night Magic is a huge accomplishment. Organized play every single week. Every state in the union, you could just go play Magic on a Friday night, right? That is huge. That never existed within, and that comes from Magic being such a powerful, such an innovative game, right? Now Keyforge is coming in saying, we want ours, right? Keyforge is coming in trying to make itself a name in the collectible card game industry, and I understand that the actual term is what you're really dealing with is a unique deck game, right? Okay, so but it is competing with collectible card games, right? So you have all this going on, right? And so is there going to be constructed? And I think the answer is no. No, there is not going to be constructed. And the reason why, the constructed format within Keyforge is absolutely not going to work. And the reason why is, one, the game was designed against it, right? And so I don't think it's going to be a fun game, right? I don't think it would be that fun because the design is going to resist it being put into that mold anyway, okay? But even beyond that, there's a culture issue, right? I think the vast majority of people playing Keyforge are there because they're tired of all the problems of constructed. The biggest problem with constructed is you can work hard, bring a cool, innovative, sweet deck to the table on Friday night, and stomp your best buddy, and then your best buddy can go on Star City and stomp you with your same deck, with the deck you built on Monday, right? That's the problem with constructed, right? It is a real problem. The other thing is, and the other thing is more often than what I just said, your buddy is coming and they're never even building their own decks. They're just copying whatever won the PTQs or the big Magic tournaments, right? So you're playing against net decks. It's a huge problem in constructed. So one, people who are playing Keyforge are kind of tired of that, you copied my deck noise, right? So why on earth would they rebuild that within Keyforge? And I think there's not going to be a lot of people who want to do that. There's going to be some people who want to do that, but they're just not going to find a lot of other players. And they're not going to find people, who are going to absorb that cost. The other thing is the risk. When you do that, right, when you mix your decks together, if you do anything wrong and you lose cards or you mix cards, when you go to play your cards in tournaments or even against other people, they're going to say, hey, you're cheating. Your decks are mixed, right? If you lose even a single card from a Keyforge deck, that deck is worthless, right? And so that is probably the biggest problem Keyforge has, is you mar a single card in a deck, the whole deck is trash, right? That is a serious, real concern in Keyforge, okay? So doing constructed format in Keyforge is very, very risky, in my opinion, okay? All right, so I do not think constructed format Keyforge will land. It just won't, right? Okay, so then, the other question is, what about time-based? So modern is, hey, we have these blocks of cards that are legal. Vintage is everything back to the beginning. Vintage is in many ways not really a viable format. Every place I've ever seen Vintage played, they allow proxies, which I think is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. It's just, I don't understand why any card game in the world would allow proxies. It seems like a terrible, terrible idea, because the moment you start telling players you can use proxies, then what I think of immediately is, why do I need you at all? Why don't I just print all your cards? Why don't I just take images off the internet and print every card, make whatever decks I want? If I'm proxying some, why not proxy all? Now when I say that to myself, I'm like, that's not cool, man. People worked hard on that design, and you should pay them for the work they've done. That's why I don't do that, right? But I think Vintage really isn't. So I think with that, there will absolutely be people who will. I think there'll be a name for it. It might be Vintage, but Vintage in Keyforge will be simply saying, oh, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let's play, the first edition. Let's play those first edition decks, right? Or you could play a first, not first edition, but like the first set. The 1E, the first set that came out against this set, this fourth set that came out, right? That could be really fun. I'm really, really fascinated by that. So I think there will be time-based formats. There will be Vintage and Modern. They won't be mixed decks. It'll just be, let's play your 1E set against my 4E set, the fourth set that came out. So that should be very interesting. And then here's the other one. Like, okay, so what about like Commander, right? So we already talked. Now Commander would definitely be a constructed format. No, actually, let's not talk about it that way. So let's talk about Commander. Commander is one of the most interesting, and I know it used to be called Elder Dragon Highlander. So EDH. Let's talk about Commander. Commander is really interesting. It says maximum of one card, and you have a general, and that general has abilities, right? That was a really innovative, very cool, unique way to play Magic the Gathering. That absolutely very well could happen within Keyforge. So I think what could happen with Keyforge is a format that nobody expects now, right? Like maybe you take dice and you mix dice into the game, right? And you're making rolls for each creature each turn, and based on what comes up on the rolls, they have the ability to do different things, right? So that's my point. Is I think there's a very distinct possibility. There could be I'm going to call it an XY idea, right? Something where we don't really know what the idea is now, but an innovative person is going to go, hey, I can make Keyforge more fun than it already is by adding this weird element or taking a weird element out. That I'm excited about. I'm actually excited about now, and I think the best XY ideas will not actually change any of the decks. They'll leave. That is the best thing about Keyforge, is that the decks are together, they're ready, let's roll, right? And so that's one of the things I think is very exciting, is let's keep the decks together, but what else can we do? Like, can we just take 8 cards out of the deck at the beginning, or and that's the thing that's exciting with this new format idea. We don't really know what the change is going to be, but we know somebody can go tweak, done. Here's the new format, right? And the cool thing is, it's not going to come from FFG. It's going to come from some brilliant person out there, and it'll start in like Minnesota and then spread like fire. And I'm excited about that. I do want to see like a commander type format for the game. I said I was going to talk about what FFG would do. I didn't get to that. Sorry, everybody. But that's so. What I really talked about is new formats for Keyforge. What will happen? What should happen? And here's what should happen. We should have a new commander type. Constructed format should absolutely be rejected by everybody who is a good red-blooded American, in my opinion, right? And so like that is trash, in my opinion. It's just a trash format. Constructed Keyforge is a terrible idea, and so I think that's what should happen. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what formats will emerge for Keyforge, and please consider liking and subscribing.